Welcome, everybody, to the Paranormal Peeps podcast. If you're new, a warm welcome. And if you're a returning listener, welcome back. So before we get on to tonight's topic, let me introduce who's around the table. So to my right, I got Stinky Pete. And, just to shorten that, let's just call him Josh.
Well, hello, everybody.
Hi, Stinky Pete.
Hello.
You stink. And then to my left, we have the damsel in distress, Elisa. And straighten your crown, my dear. It's a little crooked.
Sorry.
And I am just Jamie.
Smart mouth Jamie.
No. So, before we get on to tonight's subject, why don't we talk about a little bit about our public investigation that we just had?
Yeah.
Out at Benson Grist Mill.
So we had that on the 29th of October. So just a couple nights before Halloween.
Yeah.
Honestly, I am really glad we brought porch heaters.
It was so cold.
It got really cold. Yeah.
It was like to your bones.
For you, damsel in distress. I mean, her crown kind of froze to her head. We had to thaw her out.
It was cold, man. And I had like layers. I was going to put on my costume and no, it was just too cold.
Yeah. Totally get it.
Yeah. But thankfully the wind didn't blow that night.
Yeah.
That would have been so much worse.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, everyone had a great time.
We had a great turnout. A lot of people came. And some people came even last minute. They booked tickets last minute and came, which was really fun.
Yeah, like 4 hours before the event, they bought tickets.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, that was really neat. And, we did some demos, which were a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Throughout the night. Yep.
So, and I had something happen to me for the first time that's never happened to me on investigation.
Do tell.
We were up in the top of the big mill, and I broke out dowsing rods, and they didn't work.
No, they didn't.
That's weird.
It's super weird.
See,
That's
normally
really
it
weird.
doesn't work for me, so I toss it off to one of you guys
Yeah.
and see if it works for you because I can't generally get them to work very often. But this time, they did.
They chose
They chose me.
Elisa.
They did, but they kept pointing at the guy across from you.
Yes. We had just an interesting situation where we tell everyone, don't provoke, don't, do certain things. And one of them is we don't want you to bring a Ouija board and play it.
And we forgot to
And we forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you sit there and say don't provoke, don't challenge, it's
Yes.
kind of along the lines of
Assumed.
but yeah.
At the same time, I didn't say it. And it's not like I had seen anyone bring one, but they
Someone snuck one in.
they got it in, played it a little bit, and then went back out and put it back out in the car. But the rods kept pointing to this same person. And I was like, why are they pointing to this person? And instantly in my mind, I thought Ouija board.
Yeah.
And I was like, did somebody bring a Ouija board? And the guy was like, I did. I'm like, did you use it? He's like, yeah, but it's back out in the car.
Don't
and
matter.
I was like, well, this is the scenario.
You're right.
It wants you because you got out the Ouija board. And so we tried to see if it would work for him, the dowsing rods, and they actually didn't. He couldn't get them to work.
It would not.
But it didn't stop acknowledging him until we acknowledged it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which was quite interesting.
It was weird.
But great guy. Like everybody that came was super great.
It was a great crowd.
Yeah.
It was.
Super, like what was so great about that experience is things like that can happen, but they took it graciously.
Yeah, they did.
And were super nice about it. And we're like, hey, can you tell us more about why? And I was like, that is so adult of you to ask that. Like, it's so nice when it's instead of getting a reaction that could be like mean, because you don't want to come across as like, you're not supposed to bring, you don't want something like that. Yeah, he was super great about it. And I think we all had fun the rest of the night. I mean, the whole time was enjoyable.
Yeah.
But it was just a quite interesting dowsing rod session with that because they were moving really slow. And then all of a sudden, and it just would go straight to him every time. It was just very interesting. kind of a cool experience.
So you had to acknowledge, you couldn't ignore it.
No, I mean,
'Cause,
like,
I
I couldn't
mean-
get answered. I couldn't get my
Yeah.
questions answered because,
It was persistent.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think what was fun that night, because we were getting ready to leave the big mill, and we were talking about dowsing rods.
Yeah.
And people were like, well, how do you get them to work for you? And it's like, well, that's a weird question. Like, I was like, they either work or they don't. Like, it's not,
They don't work for everybody.
they don't.
But that's the thing is, I had been trying for like, what, 5-6 years now, and they finally started working for me last year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they sure
And
did.
even then, it's not all the time. It's kind of here, hit and miss.
yeah.
And I try very, very hard to never like force them to go in any direction, not to move, because I want it to be genuine
100%.
and I don't want any mistakes happening. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, like for me, if it works, it's genuinely working.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If it's not, I'm not going to force it.
Yeah. We're
Yeah.
the same way.
Yeah.
If I think I moved a little bit, then I'm going to readjust myself, and then I'm
Mhm.
going to start over and re-ask the question.
Yeah, there were a couple of times where I was pretty darn cold. and-
Right.
And while I was doing the dowsing rods, I'd kind of jerk a little bit. I'm like, oh, that was me. Hold on.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the one thing interesting about dowsing rods is dowsing rods do have owners,
They do.
and they know who their owner is.
They do.
Which is actually something that I didn't really know until that night.
Oh, you had never seen us.
No.
Josh and
Oh.
I usually do a little example of it. We kind of show people. Like, he will take my rods
Uh-huh.
with permission, of course, and I will go and stand amongst other people, and he'll close his eyes, and then he'll say, "Point one of these rods to who your owner is," and one of the rods will find me and point right at me.
That's interesting.
And we've done this probably a dozen or more times where we've shown people this,
Yep.
and every time it works.
And
Every time.
And I did that at the top and at the big mill.
Yeah.
Did you?
I did, because I asked Elisa for her if I could
Yeah.
borrow her rod. She's like, yeah. I was like, yeah. Every rod has their owners, and I turned kind of like 90-degree-ish from her, and I was like, okay, now point to your owner. And they went, zhoo, and everyone's eyes. If I could have seen them because it was in the dark, I imagine everyone's eyes the size of saucers.
Well, they usually are, because whenever you and I do it, people get really wide eyes, like, whoa.
Well,
Yeah.
like the way that I thought you were going with that conversation was like every rod have their owners. I'm like, yeah, those are my rods.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one who uses those all the time. They're
Yeah.
mainly mine,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And like, I don't ever use your guys' rods
Mm-hmm.
because you guys have your own rods. So of course I'm the owner of those rods.
Right.
So you're like, every rod has its own. I'm like, well, yeah.
You're like, you're stating
Sure
the
does.
obvious here.
And then it points to me like, sweet.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite things to show people that have never seen it. And Josh and I used to do this a lot. We
Yeah.
used to show people that a lot. It was,
And see, I
it's
wonder
neat.
if I've heard that before and just have forgotten or something. I
Well-
don't know, but I hadn't recollected
Right.
that.
But it's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So tell us some of the demos that were done out here. So throughout the night, we kind of let people go and investigate on their own.
Mhm.
We want them to have the full experience of just, we don't want to put them in groups, and, we want them to get out there and do their thing. Right.
Right.
Yep.
And should they have any questions, they can always come get us. One of us or two of us are still at the pavilion. But throughout the night, we had at the top of every hour, a couple people from our team would go and do a demo,
Mhm.
either with like the flux, the ovulus,
The dowsing rods.
the dowsing rods.
SC's method.
So the ones we did at the that night, whereas we did dowsing rods at the top of the mill,
Mhm.
we did a portal session in the small mill.
And did Steve do that one with you guys?
Steve ran that one.
So Steve from Broken Wings, some of his team members come out and helped us that
Yep.
night.
And so Steve ran that one.
Yeah.
And that one, I mean, it was interesting. Like, we got some decent answers,
Mhm.
but for the most part, it was just kind of, kind of hit and miss on some things.
And I found that it's actually kind of quiet in there for the most part.
It was.
And I haven't had any miraculous or really cool thing happen in there, or really good EVP ever. It's, for me, that's been the quietest room out of all of them.
Yeah. And
Not for everyone, but just for me.
and it is one of the handful of buildings that was built on the property. So for those of you who don't or who may not know, there's two mills. There's the original mill, the original grist mill that was there. And it's non-functional now. It was fully rebuilt. It was just a skeleton when the original owners bought the property and turned it into what it is today. The small mill, what we call the small mill, is an actual working mill. And so they, during the summer months, they will use this mill to show how the milling process actually works. So it's got a working water wheel, all of that stuff. And it's a really neat display section. They have a hand mill there, which is painful to try to like grind with. And then they have some of the Native American stones where they would go sit down and they would grind
the corn
and the wheat by themselves.
Yeah.
And so they have that. That's just kind of what the display is there.
And that main mill that is not functional, that mill is like 3 stories tall.
It is.
It's huge.
It's a big mill.
Yeah.
And so when we say the top of the floor, we're up.
It's up there.
3 stories high.
Yeah.
But it's a really big area because on the rest of the property, there's houses that were built in the pioneer time that have been brought to that particular property for the museum. And so they have one with they call it the loom room.
It's called the Pioneer Exhibition Room.
Yes. So it's like, we call it the loom room, but it's where all the loom is, where, they would make their blankets or quilts and rugs and, all of that stuff. And there's the one with the bed and like the stove, and it shows you how small of a space it is for them to live in.
Yeah.
Then they have the blacksmith shop.
You talking about the Pearson cabin?
No, I think she's talking about the one where that grumpy old woman spirit is. It's got the little bed and the potbelly stove.
But
by the barn.
So basically what I'm saying is there are just a lot of different houses where they show a lot of different types of things that they had to live with.
Right.
Yeah. There's 16 buildings on the property,
There's a
roughly.
Schoolhouse. Yeah.
Which is not original.
Right.
That was a Boy Scout project.
Yes. And
Still
that's
neat.
further
Still
out
really
in the
cool.
property, but that also has some spirits in it.
Yep.
But yeah, so there's just a lot of different things to see there, which is really, really neat.
It's a neat place to go see and learn about pioneer history. So if you haven't gotten a chance, I would highly recommend checking it out. If you live in Utah, or if honestly, travel to Utah and go check it out.
Yeah, it's worth it.
You and Steve went and did that.
Yes.
The spirit box session,
Yep.
right? And then what was after that?
The last one after that was the Estes method inside the barn. Now, we call it a barn. It looks like a barn. It's really where they keep their lawnmowers and their
Christmas decorations.
Yeah, all their stuff that they just kind of have in there. We usually like to go in there because there is a type 3 entity that kind of hangs out in the barn, and usually up above. There's this catwalk area up above that you can't really get to without a ladder.
It's like a loft.
Yeah, and it walks around up there. So Jamie and I have been in there before, and we've caught him looking over at us, and we've caught the sounds of boots
Walking up there.
walking on the wood up above us. So we thought it'd be a great time to go check this place out and do the Estes method there. We didn't get that spirit. We got a female spirit, and she did not like me at all.
It makes me wonder something. That cranky old female spirit that's in that cabin right next to
Yes.
the barn?
Uh-huh.
I wonder if she just
Floated on over there.
hey, I know that idiot, and just floated on over to the barn to tell you what she thought of you.
And that's exactly the word that was used, idiot.
See? Told you.
She's like, I don't like Stinky Pete. You idiot.
Right.
But it was, she came out and said that she was ornery, and then decided to be belligerent with me. Now,
I love those ones.
I didn't stop, and I was belligerent back, and it was a lot of fun. The funny thing is poor Elisa is sitting there on top of this lawnmower
Yeah.
that's in there. she can't hear what's going on.
Nope.
I'm doubled over at my knees laughing. Everybody else is laughing at these responses.
And I'm like, what's going on?
They're just having a good old time.
But it was a lot of fun. I mean, I thought it was fun.
Now you know why I like it so much.
Exactly. And she did proceed to call me lots of names and told me to leave. And I told her I wasn't going to leave until she did something. And
Didn't it say apples?
no,
Not in this one?
not this one.
No.
No, but that would have been funny. That would have been funny if she would have said apples. No, she just called me idiot. And then at one point in time, Elisa's like, she pulls off the headphones and she's like, she's calling you a lot of names.
Oh yeah. There were names that were coming out. I was like, I am not repeating that. I don't cuss. And so they were saying some nasty, nasty words. And I was like, I ain't repeating those.
I wish I was there.
And the thing is so the Estes method, we've talked about it before if you've listened to our previous podcast, but if you haven't, the Estes method is where you're listening to the radio station scanning at a faster speed. So for me, I scan in reverse and I have it fast enough where it's going ch-ch-ch-ch-ch-ch. And each of those ch-ch sounds are stations. Each one is a different station. And so as it's going backwards through these stations, it's not going to be long enough, give you enough time to come out with full sentences or phrases or any of that. Most of the time, if you get something, you'll hear it through the radio and you're like, oh, that's not it. That's just a one word, and you can tell that it's the radio host's voice. But when they come through and there's no, like you hit a certain spot where it's just like a blank, there's no actual radio stations.
It's like dead air.
Dead air. Yeah. And it's just, all you hear is the ch-ch-ch, and that's it. And when a word comes through and it says a couple of swear words in a row, and you're like, oh, that wasn't anybody. That they don't allow that on air.
That's right.
They sure don't.
That's right.
And it kept doing it. Like it didn't stop. It just kept pulling out these words, and I was like, oh, this one's angry.
And it was female, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Which we've never caught a female in the barn before.
I don't know if I have
we
either.
haven't. I mean, maybe someone else has, but it's usually like a type 3 presence that hangs out there mostly.
And usually presents itself as male.
Yes.
So I don't know if you decided to present itself as female this time and just kind of be ornery cuss this way.
Don't know.
If it was the lady that hangs out in the adjacent house who
she just came on over. Yeah.
Who happens? She claims that she was the original owner of the property.
Okay.
That helped restore the mill. So that place was ran by her and her husband.
I highly doubt that would be her.
It's hard to think that, right?
She's grumpy, but that female doesn't like to talk to anybody.
Yeah, and to be that aggressive.
But to come out and be that belligerent,
I don't think it'd be her.
That doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't fit with what we've known from past experiences. So
right.
But yeah, it was interesting because usually Jamie's on the receiving end of that one.
I love it.
Right.
And so this is my first chance to be on the receiving end of the ornery. And yeah, it was fun.
It's fun to fire back. I mean, I don't fire back in the same way. Like I don't sit there and blurt out cuss words and stuff.
And I did not either.
No,
but it's
because
more like
that's more egging it on.
Yes, it's more like standing your ground. Like when they say, when they talk to you like that and they're like, leave, and it's like, no, you're not going to be a bully. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's just basically drawing this line.
Yeah.
Without being, you don't challenge it. Never challenge it.
Right. But and a lot of times like these spirits, if they're trying to be ornery like this, they're trying to get you to leave. Mm-hmm. They're trying to force you to leave and to leave them alone. And in these cases, we're like, look, it doesn't matter what you say. Mm-hmm. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to talk to you. And then they obviously don't care.
Yeah.
And so they're going to keep spewing whatever filth and vile they want to. And and we eat it up and we laugh.
Yeah.
And in this case, the ticket holders got to laugh right along with it.
I think they enjoyed it. I think it was pretty entertaining from what I hear. I wasn't there. I was at the pavilion, but yeah, it sounds like everybody had a great laugh.
Yeah.
So, but that was kind of essentially our night. I mean, we had some photo ops there with some backdrops. We had one of the terror dogs from Ghostbusters set up there. Really cool prop. We also had a big creeper skeleton who blinks and looks side to side. And I mean, we served refreshments, cocoa, cider. We had chips. We had candy. And we also had Lavinia's Eden come and be a vendor. So that's ran by Laura from Broken Wing Paranormal and does these lovely creations and wire wrapping of stones. And she has crystals and lots of neat stuff. She also sells wonderful loose tea. And yeah, so she was kind enough to be a vendor. So special thanks to her. And also to Steve and Erica from Broken Wings Paranormal as well. They came out and Steve helped with the demos and Erica was helping with the crystals and the stones and all that. So yeah, we greatly appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was really fun.
And for all the people that bought tickets and came and, thank you. This was only our second public event. And we had a great time and
we all had a blast. I
it
think.
was fun, like talking with everybody and, we got to hear some of their experiences throughout the night, which was great.
It really sounded like the area was really
very active.
Yeah. And we had asked if any of them had been ghost hunting before, if it had been their first time. And nobody raised their hand.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody has done it before, which was
completely
awesome.
opposite of our first one. And with our first one, nobody had ghost hunted before.
Yeah.
And with this one, everyone had ghost hunted
Yes.
before.
But what's interesting is when I asked, had anybody been to the mill before?
Right.
Most.
Most
Most
not
hands were
all
down.
of them.
Sorry,
Not
most
all.
hands were down. So most people had never been to the Benson Grist mill. Some people are like, "This is my bucket list." I'm like, "That's awesome."
And it turned out to be such a good night.
It did.
It did. We had a lot of fun. But overall, it was a great night. And
We thank everybody that came. It was such a fun time.
yeah, we loved everybody that showed
It
up.
was
and came.
freaking
just-
cold, but it was
it
a
was
blast.
Still worth it.
Everybody had a
Totally.
good time. Like they would come in, they'd go to the heaters, they'd warm up,
Have some hot cocoa.
Yep.
and then right back out.
Yep.
That being said, what is our subject tonight?
Well, it's fun that we're going to go from one public investigation,
Mm-hmm.
to now one of our last investigations that we did in September,
Yes.
which is Fort Douglas Military Museum.
Yes.
I love Fort Douglas.
I do too.
This was our first place we investigated in the state of Utah. Jamie and I did.
We did.
This was actually my first investigation.
Well, look at that.
Wow.
So ours was with a local paranormal team. This was before Josh and I decided to start our own team.
it was just after we did.
Was it just
Mhm.
after?
Just after, because it's just after Waverly the first time.
Okay.
And I was on this team.
So let's touch just a brief bit of history of Fort Douglas, because what you see today at Fort Douglas Military Museum is two buildings, some military vehicles,
Yes.
and a little stone from Ground Zero.
Yes.
Well, I shouldn't say little. It's a pretty
It's-
big stone.
Yeah.
But it is a part of Ground Zero. It's part of one of the Twin Towers. And it is a memorial to those who lost their lives during 9/11. But this place used to be a lot bigger. In fact, if you know where the University of Utah campus is, and you know where Hogle Zoo's at, it spanned all of that
Okay.
area.
Can we just say it was 10,525 acres?
So big.
So, yeah, it's big.
That's how big.
Yeah, that's big. And now it's like 4. It's a lot smaller.
I think, well, it says today the military occupies 58 acres, but I think that's in total with all the different military bases.
Yeah, because there is a National Guard Center
Yes.
just south of the Military Museum,
Yeah.
which, let's face it, no one's going to let us onto that installation to investigate. Even those of us that hold our veteran card, they're still not going to let us on there.
Yeah.
So, but this place started in 1861. So October 24th, 1861, the Civil War's going on.
It's
And-
the second year of the Civil War, right?
And, they're worried about the overland mail routes. So not necessarily at that point in time from, the Mormon settlers or any vigilantes in those areas, but the Native Americans were doing a good job of attacking these overland mail routes. And so they needed someone to come out there and protect them. So they ended up sending out some military out to protect the Pony Express and the overland mail. So in 1862, that's when Abraham Lincoln actually authorized Brigham Young to start raising and equipping one, volunteer group of militiamen for 90 days. That's kind of like the start of getting more people out there. And then in early September, a man by the name of Connor and his troops, they actually arrived in the area, and they were the ones that they had visited Camp Floyd, which we have talked about before, right? And then they came back and they ended up setting up the camp, which at that point in time was called Camp Douglas, not Fort at the time. Mm-hmm. And if you go into the museum, it's kind of interesting because Connor is listed in the museum as the first Gentile of Utah.
Huh. Okay.
So Gentile being one who is not of the Mormon religion, which is actually kind of interesting. He was the first general of the fort there. And at that time, the troops had built 32 dugouts, 13 feet square and 5 feet deep. And they pitched their tents over the top of those. So it's basically, let's dig a big hole and throw a tent on top. Which, that's in September, right? Mm-hmm. And so now you got a winter in Utah, which, I've lived in North Dakota, and winters in North Dakota are a lot worse than they are here.
Yeah.
But I am still not spending a night in a tent at 20 degrees at night. That would be miserable.
No comment.
Because
No, I mean, I just kind of recall going to the Anson Call house and being in like a tent, and it wasn't 20 degrees, but it was like 31, and
we were out there all night.
We were all night until like 6:30 in the morning. So in a tent.
We were there in a tent in the winter.
Would you like to retract that statement?
Unless you're ghost hunting, then you don't want to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, would you want to live in? I mean, look,
night after night.
It was fun for a night.
You didn't say live. You simply said a night.
This is true. This is very true. So I wouldn't want to spend a long, extended period of time, multiple days in a tent in the wintertime in Utah.
Agreed.
So they ended up building 11 barracks that were nice and big, 8 officers' quarters, and 12 married soldiers' quarters. So they started building out quite a bit of stuff in 1862.
They did. They got to work.
So we're going to have a chat about this particular guy. To get into this, to give kind of credence to why we're talking about this, going to Fort Douglas, you can get people, like when you are listening to your EVPs, you can get EVPs from people who speak different languages, and which we have gotten before. And so if you ever go there and you get one of a different language, here might be why. So we're going to talk about this massacre, about this guy named Bertucci. I don't know. We're just going to go with it. Bertucci. This is so hard. Okay, so on the night of July 7th in 1945, he was out drinking and he drank several glasses of beer. He stopped at a cafe on Main Street to have some coffee and to speak with a waitress, telling her something exciting is going to happen tonight. But before reporting for guard duty back at the camp, after the midnight changing of the guard, he waited for the previous watch to go to bed. And then he climbed up to the guard tower nearest to the officers' quarters, loaded a .30 caliber M1917 Browning machine gun that was mounted at the position, and then opened fired on the tents of the sleeping Germans, moving the gun back and forth. He hit 30 of those 43 tents before being removed from the tower by another soldier. He was quoted to have said, "Get more ammo, I'm not done yet." with 3 trigger pulls. The firing lasted about 15 seconds, long enough to fire 250 rounds of ammunition.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Lieutenant Albert I. Cornell demanded Bertucci to come down from the tower, and he refused because, quote, some of them Germans are still alive, unquote. After another guard was set to bring him down, he was reportedly taken into custody without any resistance. Despite his drinking prior to the incident, he was not found to be intoxicated upon arrest. The guards kept a close watch for prisoner retaliation, but there was none. 6 of the Germans were killed outright. 2 later died in Salinas Hospital. 1 died in an army hospital, and 19 others were wounded. There were reportedly not enough room for the hospital, or room in the hospital, so many of the prisoners were treated on the hospital lawn, and one of the prisoners was, quote, nearly cut in half by the machine gun. And he managed to survive for 6 hours.
Yikes.
You're kidding. Oh, my word.
Awful. It is said that, quote, blood flowed out of the front door of the hospital.
Oh, my goodness.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So if you're kind of wondering, and I don't know if everyone knows this about history, why were there Germans in Salina, Utah? Well, we had prisoner of war camps in the U.S. And so these Germans were prisoners of war. And they were sent to Utah. They were sent to Fort Douglas. And then Fort Douglas kind of had an overflow, and they sent some down to Salina to be in this big camp.
It says there were rumors that Bertucci committed the murders in order to avenge the death of a loved one in Europe. His mother confirmed that it was false. She did, however, tell reporters that she believed his actions were due to his appendectomy he received 5 years prior to the massacre. This is a load of crap. And she told the New York Times, quote, something must have happened to him as a result of the spinal injection. Otherwise, he would never have shot those men. Quote, that's so bull. Like, that is so dumb.
Right. But that does sound like even parents today, when one of their children get in trouble and they go on the news and they say, not my kid.
He never would have He shouldn't have gotten that spinal tap.
Yeah.
I blame the spinal tap.
He had a root canal last week, and had it been done right, that numbing shot, he never would have went and done that.
Unless I am totally wrong, and somebody call me out if I'm totally wrong, but what does that have to do with your behavior?
I don't think it has anything to do with behavior, because there are many women who get the same spinal tap
during labor,
right?
And they don't go pick up a machine gun and
go massacre a bunch of people.
No,
yeah, exactly.
It's like, that seems like what I want to do today,
right? So what this really says to me is that this man, he just hated these people
for whatever reason.
Exactly,
we don't know.
I mean, I get it. Like, if he did serve in Europe, like, you're going to have this kind of more deep-seated hatred for the enemy, for the people that you were there to kill.
Right.
So I get that. But if he's never been over there, if he didn't serve in Europe and he just served in Utah, then it's just, honestly, at this point in time, it's like, you're just racist. You just hate these people because of who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is super sad.
It is.
Extremely.
But...
And sad that, I mean, I don't know if he ever faced up to it, and I'm sure he did because he was caught doing it, right? Right in the middle of it. But to have his mom be like, no, he would never have done this. Except for he did have a spinal tap, and I'm pretty sure that he wouldn't have done it unless...
Well, and is it her way of...
Coping
to say, my kid would never do this. It must have been due
This is the
to
only
something
way...
else.
This is the only way that I can fathom that
he would never
do
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting is, he was arrested afterwards, right?
Right.
Of course. They sent him to New York to be evaluated by military doctors to determine his mental state. They kept him for several weeks.
Why New York, though?
Maybe they're specialists over there. I don't know.
Yeah, it's Mason General Hospital. So I don't know. Maybe, maybe it's a military thing where they have certain places.
Okay.
Like you hear a lot of like military people being treated at Cedar Sinai.
Right. Okay.
Or Sinai. Sorry.
I'm like,
that's a terrible name.
Right.
they should really change that.
Right. But they determined he was mentally unbalanced.
Okay.
Here's the thing. He just opened fire on a bunch of unarmed prisoners.
Yeah.
It does not take much to realize that the man was unbalanced.
Well, not just that, but prior to that, when he was at that little bar or whatever,
He was planning it.
He already had hatched this plan before because he told the gal something exciting is going to happen tonight.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
he was looking forward to this. This
I wonder
gave
how
him
long
joy.
he had been planning it.
Exactly.
I mean, he had it set out. He waited for the person to come down so that he could run back up and take control.
Yeah. So he would have known. I mean, obviously he worked at the camp, so he
Right.
knew the guard schedules. He knew the rotation schedules. He knew when the post was going to be unmanned. He knew where the ammo was at. Here's the thing that I find surprising to me. Right. I get that they had armed guard towers on the premise, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what? And this is 1946, right? 45, 46? 45.
45.
So, I mean, this is not like the frontier times. What were they protecting against? Who's going to storm the POW camp?
I don't know.
I have
Like-
no idea.
I would imagine there's 4 guard posts. I have never been down to Salina, so maybe there's only one, right? I imagine there were 4 guard posts on towers on each end, each with a Browning 30 caliber machine gun. That's a lot of firepower to
It
protect.
is.
To protect against what?
So you think there was more going on there?
No, I just think it was what they did, and it just seems weird to me.
Okay, but would
Well-
that kind of signal that maybe there was something there that
And I could be wrong, but I did read something about how, and I think this is it on the Germans, on this particular camp, that they were good at escaping.
Okay, so it was protection
So
against escape.
It might
but that's
be,
still a lot
it's
of
still a lot of
firepower.
ammo, but
It
it's
is.
but it's may just be the fear factor. You know, knowing that there's all of that above you, there's no way that you can escape. Versus a man just
for it
holding
to
a
be
gun,
intimidating.
right?
Yeah.
Don't attempt it.
But
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway,
So this massacre went down as the worst massacre at a POW camp in U.S. history.
Wow.
yeah, it's terrible. It's
That's
so
awful.
sad.
It is super sad. Here's the interesting thing, though, is they are buried where, Jamie?
Fort Douglas Cemetery, which is just right. Isn't it right next door to the museum?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
It's, for it being right next door and for the handful of times that we've been to Fort Douglas, Josh and I have never investigated the cemetery.
I haven't either.
You haven't?
No.
Oh,
no, I haven't either.
that's what I just said.
Yeah.
You and I haven't. Oh, I'm sorry. You're Stinky Pete, but we're calling you Josh. So,
Pete's never been there either, okay, guys?
okay.
Yeah, no, we've never investigated it. It's supposedly it closes. Like, you're not supposed to be in there at night.
Yeah.
Type of deal.
Hey, but I'm totally fine with investigating during the day.
I am
Right?
too, actually.
We've had some good run-ins with during the day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be at night, for sure.
No, it doesn't have to be at night. So let's, this was a very brief history of a place that was built in 1862 and closed in 1965. Like, this place has seen all of the world wars, the Spanish-American War, the Indian Wars. It's been through a lot.
Yes.
And there's lots of history here.
Who's somebody, if somebody wants to know more about Fort Douglas in general, who's somebody that they can find all that information out at?
Shout out to Fiona, and she's really good at understanding the Fort Douglas history. She works there, and she has done a lot of research.
Yes, she
for
would be
Fort
the
Douglas.
one. She would be the
So
one to talk to.
if there's any more history that you want to learn about, which is honestly really fascinating, I would go talk to Fiona. She's really good at it.
Yeah, she's a well of knowledge. So
Yeah, head down to Fort Douglas if you're in the state of Utah and talk with them. And there's they have multiple volunteers there as well. And that they will
all knowledgeable.
all knowledgeable.
Yes.
So let's get on to our night of investigation.
Okay.
You're here.
You're here.
So we started in the poker room
And why is it called the poker room?
because back in the day, it was where the men went down, played poker, probably had prostitutes going down in there, and it wasn't, and it's a tiny room, mind you. I mean,
Yeah, it's not big.
it's not large by any stretch.
No, 10 by 10 at the most?
10 by 10, 12 by 12, something around
It's-
in there.
Yeah.
In there. Not huge. Enough to fit probably a couple tables of people playing poker and people standing around, whatever. But kind of this little hideaway in the basement. And generally when we go down there, I mean, I've been there quite a few times. And going down there, it generally feels pretty dark. That's where I feel the darkest
yeah.
for me. Like I feel more of a darker energy in that area. And so while we were down there, though, we set up our equipment and we had the flux. We had you guys got the flux out.
Yep.
So the flux is a little triangle that has a green light and a red light on it. And we try to ask questions and yes for green or no for red and see if it will go off. And Josh asked if it would make the light go off, and instantly it did. And we heard some shuffling in there. About 18 minutes in or so, we heard some but what we noticed, so, is while we were in there, we say that your body is your best tool, right?
Yep.
And we weren't feeling anything in the room, but we were feeling it out of the room, like almost like we were being watched,
Mm-hmm.
or like, we're going to listen to you from further away. But it definitely sounded like down the hall, there was shuffling
Yeah.
on the floor.
Somebody walking around out there.
Yeah. So we heard that, but none of us were moving. We were all sitting completely still.
We were sitting in chairs. We were
Yeah.
completely still.
Yeah. And then I suggest, well, since we feel it out there, let's put the flux out in the doorway.
Yep.
So we put the flux out in the doorway, and we got another response like, should we put this out in the doorway? And then it went green.
Mm-hmm.
So,
What's interesting, though, is as we're talking about putting that out there, right?
yeah.
We ended up getting an EVP.
We did.
So we'll play for that now.
Should we put this by the doorway? So I ask, should we put it by the doorway? And then listen to it again, see if you can hear what they say after. Should we put this by the doorway?
Yeah. So did you hear? So what we hear is a male voice that comes through that says, "We're here."
Mm-hmm.
So it's like acknowledging the fact that they're over by the doorway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's neat to get kind of that type of response. And then we also get the flux responding too. Yes, we should put this over by the doorway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we put it over by the door, and then it starts getting cold in the room. So it starts getting cold, and Jamie is like, are we bothering you? Like, is that why it's getting cold? I get an EVP that sounds like a door is opening. So it's like,
And there's no door on this room.
Can
No,
we just
it's-
tell you the door is disconnected?
It's off its
from the
hinges
wall.
and leaning out against the staircase outside of the room.
Yeah.
So we have this phantom door sound. And it honestly, like, if you weren't to know, like, if you didn't understand that it was a door, it sounds like a ghost fart. So it's like, I got a ghost fart. So then after that, Jamie got out the dowsing rods, but she was kind of struggling with them. And so we asked, okay, well, would you rather talk to a male?
Mm-hmm.
And so then Josh got out his rods and Jamie had her rods out. And would you rather talk to a male? And both of theirs said yes.
He didn't like women.
No.
No.
Did not like women.
No. So it started getting a little angry, I guess, because we were...
I'd say contentious.
Yes, because we were not fighting back, but we were just standing our ground, basically saying, why, you think men are better than women? You know, and you got to understand the room that we're in. The room that we're in, I doubt women were even allowed in there unless they were being a prostitute.
That's right.
In fact, that question was asked and the response was yes. That is true.
Yes. Yep, with the dowsing rods. The dowsing rods were slow to respond, not super great. We asked, do you think that it is fair that women have equal rights? And it was like, no. So, yeah, it was just like he liked men better than women.
Yeah.
He didn't want to talk to us women.
He did not like the fact that Elise and I were there.
Yeah.
He did not.
And that we were addressing him.
And maybe that's why he was out of the room.
Yeah. He did not like us being there.
And this is the part, too, we got to remember as well. Like, in our society, right, in the year 2022, we're like, come on, dude. Like, women are equal to men. Like, they have equal rights and all this stuff. This ghost could be from 1865.
Things were very different. Absolutely.
Completely different back then.
Yeah.
So we don't know the era. We never actually dug into when this guy was around, but he didn't like women. He didn't like women having equal rights. He didn't think that they should be around. And so we didn't give him too much, like, room to talk.
No.
But it was a lot. It took a lot to get the responses out.
It did.
And it was harder to ask the questions because it did take a lot for him to respond. But he also said, we are here.
Yes.
So, which means there were multiple entities in that basement.
Right.
Which that's exactly how it felt. It felt like there were a few of them looking in through the doorway.
Yeah.
So do you think it was like him and his poker buddies? Like, hey, we're going to go play some poker. Wait.
There's women in there.
Don't go in there.
They're not prostitutes. What are they doing there? Get them out.
And it makes you wonder, right? Like, it's an interesting scenario to think of it in that way. We're not used to dealing with individuals who are 200 years old.
No.
In that avenue, or 150. I mean, we have no idea. We have no idea when they passed away.
Yeah. So, and I mean, we were still respectful. You know, we weren't like, you're a turd. We don't want to talk to you. You know, it wasn't like that. It was just like, well, in this day and age,
this is the way it is.
This is how it is.
Sorry.
And we're not going to leave just because you don't like women.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And he did tell us to leave at one point.
He did.
And it's not anything that we heard. So this came through as an EVP. And so at one point in time, we were talking about diabetes. And in this case, we're talking about the what diabetes used to be called, like disease of the blood, and how it was kind of a death sentence. So we're kind of talking about that. And you're going to hear this male voice come through underneath all of it. And he's going to ask us to vacate the premises, but not in that exact wording.
Disease of the blood, I think is what they called it.
Yeah, there was no cure for it back then. It was just death.
Well, there isn't a cure now.
Well, right. But
treatment.
So it's a little light, but you can hear him.
You can definitely hear it.
Yeah. And he's like, get out.
It's underneath us talking.
So play it one more time.
Disease of the blood, I think is what they called it.
Yeah, there was no cure for it back then. It was just death.
Well, there isn't a cure now.
Well, right.
Treatment.
So at the very end, right before Josh says, you're right, it says, get out.
Yep. Male voice.
And you can tell it's not one of us. One, it's male, and there's only one other living male in the room, and which is me, and I was talking at or almost ready to talk at that moment.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time EVPs come through as breathy. And that's a very typical.
Yeah. Very typical
of EVPs.
Yeah. And it's not like, it's kind of like them trying to talk over us, but in this case it comes under just because of the range that it comes in at.
Yeah.
So we decided to, kind of get done with that room and move on. And so we turn on the light and we start talking about kind of one of the issues I have with one of our cameras where it always records dark. Like the screen is always dark. So I have to kind of do some brightening up so I can see what's going on. And so we're talking about that. And then we get this another male voice that comes through that kind of responds and mimics what we're talking about.
Dark.
Dark. For whatever reason.
So cool.
I really like that one.
Dark.
Yeah.
You could say dork or you could say dark. Either way is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had it originally written down as dork.
Well, yeah, but then listening to the conversation where you say dark, Elisa says dark. Well, she says it, you say it.
Yep.
And then like 2 seconds after it goes dark.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's so cool.
how great is that?
Yeah, that is awesome.
I really like that one.
I love how our like smiles and giggles like, that's so cool.
We're all grinning.
Paranormal nerds.
Right.
It's so nice. I love it.
So we move on from the basement of the poker room and we go to, I think, one of the places that, I don't know, feels comfortable at.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We call it the library. It's got a little library there and it's got this reading room next to the library. And the reading room, if you're a gun nut, the reading room is great. Because like on 2 walls, there's these 2 plexiglass cases full of guns and bayonets.
And ammo.
And ammo.
Yeah.
I remember Lisa taking out her phone, showing her dad.
I know. I was like,
She's like
he's
Marco
gonna love
Poloing him.
this.
Look at this, Dad. And she was like Marco Polo
It
showing
was
him.
so cool. He's
Yeah.
like, I could spend hours in here.
Yeah, he got a kick out of that for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely neat. So we go in there and I don't know, that was, I mean, obviously that's a place that we all enjoyed, but what do we kind of we kind of split up a little bit.
A little bit.
So Jamie had the Ovilus out. And after a while, it said again. And right after that, Jamie has type 1 diabetes. And so she's got a pump. And that pump was causing issues.
Yeah, it kept malfunctioning for sure.
Yeah. And so when it said again, then right after, her pump went off.
Right on cue.
Perfect timing.
Which is funny because she starts to fix that pump. And then we get an EVP that comes through.
Mm-hmm.
You son of a gun.
Did it again?
Yeah.
So if you hear, she's like, son of a gun. Did it happen again? Yep. And then you hear a little female voice. It either says wait or hi.
I think it's wait.
So we'll play it again.
Son of a gun.
Did it again?
Yeah.
Wait.
And,
Wait.
and the funny thing is the reason I think, not just because to me it sounds like wait, but at that moment, this was like the 3rd time it happened that night, 3rd or 4th. I can't even remember. And I was getting so frustrated. So I reload the cartridge and I said, son of a gun. And, but in my mind, I was thinking, I'm just going to smash this thing on the table. To heck with it. This pump, like it's not working. Something's really wrong with it. Trying to investigate. I was getting angry and frustrated. And I remember thinking, I want to just smash it. And then we get, wait.
Don't do that, Jamie.
Almost like,
That's your lifeline.
yeah. Which literally it is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so she was just telling you to
wait.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't wait. I mean, that's the impression I get hearing that and the feeling I get. But I mean, I could be wrong.
Well, and that's generally what you try to go with is your
Yeah.
your first impressions.
Yeah.
But so a minute later, I'm doing a live EVP session, which means I've got my recorder attached to my headphones. So I'm listening to the EVPs live as they come. And so hopefully I can respond to it but then something tapped on my headphones. So what's interesting, though, is there was a lot of tapping. Speak of the devil.
Right?
Speak of this malfunctioning. Oh, and look, it's doing the same thing.
Oh, it is.
I got to reload the cartridge, guys.
So how funny that we just get done talking about that and then your pump decides to...
Do the very thing we just got done talking about it doing?
Exactly.
Yeah. Weird.
Very
Super weird.
That's weird.
Yeah. So Lisa was saying that her headphones got tapped.
Yes.
Yes.
And
And it's interesting because throughout the entire time we were in that room and when we were in the poker room,
yes.
Josh's camera kept getting tapped.
It's like something was tapping on the little screen
On the microphone.
or on the microphone
Yeah.
right there.
So this happened 27 times in the poker room and
Oh, wow.
another 20 sometimes in the library, which is crazy.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And we'll continue to talk about the tapping, but yeah.
Yeah. But I'm going to play one round, just one of this. It's a double tap is what it is.
Does it stay on for a certain amount of time?
Yeah.
Okay. And then it'll reset.
Okay, so once the blue
You just hear a little ding ding.
Yeah.
Like right on the microphone. Now,
Exactly. And
mind you, the camera's nowhere near us.
Yeah. So the camera is always across the room, either shooting us or shooting the entrance to the room.
Yes.
Right. So if you can hear it, it sounds like this. Sort of.
Similar.
Similar to that. And that's just me tapping on this microphone. And so, I mean, this is a little FASM camera you can get at Ghost Stop. It's not very big. It's a little action camera. It's got one tiny little microphone on it, and something was just, sounds like it just tap, tap.
Mm-hmm.
It's a light little tap tap.
Yep.
Yep.
So we get that. And then throughout 6 minutes of us being in the library, 6 minutes, we hear 14 taps on the glass that is holding these guns.
Yes.
And
Yep.
it's very distinct.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started asking questions and we were getting responses through the tapping,
Yep.
which was quite interesting. And I mean, there's one thing when it's settling because, you know, we kind of talked about it earlier with the weather changing, you know, maybe that's what it was. But this was so distinct and so much. And throughout the entire investigation, and it kept happening, that it was like everything was getting tapped. My headphones got tapped. The glass was getting tapped. The camera was getting tapped. Like, it was just crazy. And so while we were in the library, 26 times we heard tapping on the glass. 26 times. That is so many.
And we weren't anywhere near the glass.
No, we were sitting at the table. You and I were at the table, and Elisa was in another room.
Right.
Yeah.
But it happened when Elisa was in the room
Mm-hmm.
and I was in the library. But the thing is the table's in the center of the room and these plexiglass cases are on the back wall and the side wall.
Yeah.
So we were good 6-7 feet away from these plexiglass.
Yeah, and they happened at different intervals. It wasn't like the exact same,
Yeah, and it would be one would be over here, one would be over there, one
Yeah.
would be over here.
but all
'Cause
on the glass.
There was a glass like hutch or something that was in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
So
And that's what holds the ammo.
so that we were getting taps from that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just all around us.
Yeah.
On the glass.
Yeah.
Always on the glass.
And it would respond when we were asking questions.
Yeah.
Okay, well, can you do 2 taps? And it did do 2 taps.
Yeah.
So it was really, really interesting. And so,
So what's interesting about that is your headphones got tapped, right?
yeah,
And then 36 seconds later, we got an EVP.
yeah,
And the part that's interesting is this says Jamie and my last name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or the way Jamie talks to me
Yeah.
in reference.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't like say Josh or, sweetheart or whatever.
Or Stinky Pete.
Or Stinky Pete. Sometimes I say, hey, Raymond. I say Raymond.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
And so then you'll hear that. It's a female voice, too.
It is. And the interesting thing about this one is I love this one because it's not that breathy whisper sound. It actually sounds like a female that's far away
That's calling out.
that's saying, Raymond.
Daunting. Okay, yeah, you were touching it though, so we can't.
Can't count those.
Nope.
Raymond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. It kind of sounds, to me, it sounds like an older lady.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like when you're watching like a 1940s TV show,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and you hear them talk. That's what it sounds like.
So we'll play it one more time.
Yeah.
Can't count those.
Nope.
Sounds like an elderly woman.
Uh-huh. I wonder
Wow.
who that could be. That's so cool. She sounded very friendly, like very nice.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Very
Kind of like a
friendly.
grandma.
Like-
yeah,
like
exactly.
they
I
should
get this
know you.
grandma vibe
And
from it.
that they're familiar with you, that they should know you.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you got to wonder, though, all this tapping that happened during the night and then this EVP, right?
Right.
At least his headphones get tapped, all this other tapping going on. Is it this spirit trying to get our attention, trying to communicate with us?
Well, so we did ask questions about it. So the name Paula came through twice on the Ovulus.
Yep.
And Josh used the rods and said that it was this lady named Paula. And she said she was a nurse.
She
And-
did. So I want to get back to this Ovulus thing real quick, because this is something very weird about this Ovulus, right? That happened with this. Jamie and I, as you heard on that last clip we played, the Ovulus was kind of talking, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the time, Jamie and I were at the table where the Ovulus was at, and Elisa was in the library. Before I was doing the dowsing rod session, right? Elisa came out of the library and sat down at the table with us. The Ovulus went dead. No communication.
It stopped.
Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got up and I went into the library, and then the Ovulus started talking again.
Yeah, it's interesting why. I don't know why.
Exactly. It's like, 3's too many.
Uh-huh.
I just want 2 here.
Which I do know, like, from personal experience, that it's harder to get, you know, spiritual experiences like that when there's a lot of people in the room.
Yeah.
It is hard. I find that the less people that you have, the more often you're going to receive things like that.
Right.
And that's not always going to be the case, but just from my personal experience, that seems to be what happens, is that it's easier to get that proof when there's less people around.
Yeah, it's just
I mean, how often have you seen like a full room hear an EVP at the same time? You know,
Yeah.
I don't think I've caught 2.
with a bunch of people in the room.
Yep, 2.
So
But out of how many, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Well, yeah,
it's not often.
Out of
Yeah.
the 150 EVPs that I've saved, 2, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I asked if anyone would like to make a noise if they were there, and we did get a big bang in front of us. And it was more like on the wall than it was on the glass. And I asked it to do it again just to make sure it wasn't a coincidence. And then behind us, it tapped on the glass again. And then right after that, we're not going to play this for you because it's so quiet, and I wish it was louder. But right after that, I heard through my headphones, this live EVP, I heard a male laughing, and it was like, I was like, oh my goodness, like what the heck?
Is that when you're like, oh,
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
we should at least play her reaction?
So I did get someone laughing through the headphones, which was freaking cool. And then we continued to hear the glass tapping around us, and then the room became warmer, and we couldn't figure that out.
Yeah, the EDI, I think we gained 5 degrees.
It was 5 or 6. I can't remember.
Yeah. So we put up an EDI up on the bookshelf, kind of just to track the temperature and any, EMF or anything that was happening. And yeah, from the time we put it out to the time we ended, it was like 5 or 6 degrees warmer.
Yeah.
As it gets, an hour and a half later in the evening.
Yeah. Colder at night. That didn't make sense.
No.
So temperature fluctuation is a common thing to happen in haunting cases. Most of the time, it's where the room gets colder, not warmer. But this is probably the second time that I can recollect at the top of my head of where it's got significantly warmer in a time where it should be getting colder.
Yeah.
Because there was another time I was ghost hunting in the middle of winter, and it is snowing at this time. And I'm in a basement of a place that doesn't have any electricity, no heating, no nothing. And we asked it to raise the temperature, and it raised the temperature to exactly where we asked it to. So, I mean, it happens, but it's not super common.
Yeah.
Right.
So back to Paula, we did a nice little dowsing rod session with her.
Yeah, we did.
So you guys were asking questions in the reading room, and I had the rods out in the library.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got a little bit of information out of her that, yes, she was a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
She actually worked at Fort Douglas for 2 years, and she ended up falling in love with a soldier, marrying him, and having children with him. And all of her children have passed. So, and she also claims that she walks outside and walks around.
So I wonder if she, if her babies lived, but.
Well, it's a good question because we didn't ask if their children survived. We just asked if all of her children had passed, and she said yes. So, but again, they could have had short lives too. They could have died in their 20s or 30s, and we didn't ask. The other thing we did not ask is when she died.
No, we didn't.
And because it was open from 1862 to 1965, 103 years it was open.
Mm-hmm.
She could have been serving during World War I or the Spanish-American War. And then, her kids passed away well after, because obviously that would have been like 80, 90 years.
Yeah, but the reason why we didn't ask a lot of those questions is because she stopped answering.
Yeah.
It went quiet.
Yeah. So, and that happens because sometimes spirits, they don't have all that energy to answer every single question that you have. And so sometimes they'll leave, gather energy, and come back, or just stay away.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm done. I'm exhausted. I need to take a nap. Doubt they take a nap, but
They could.
I mean, yeah,
We don't know.
I don't know. Well,
don't-
what do you dream about when
Crawl in their ghost
When you're-
hammock and take a nap.
I don't think we've ever asked that question, have we?
We have not.
That's a good question to ask.
I've asked the question, do you eat? And I got a no. So, at least I got that. They don't eat on the other side.
Well, and we ask questions like, what do you miss? What was your favorite food? And
Yeah, and we will
do
get
those.
answers out of
we
that
do.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we absolutely do.
Have you ever tried pizza before? Because
Yeah.
pizza's hasn't always been around in the U.S.
So because we weren't getting very many answers, we ended up leaving that room, and we went over into the main building where they have the main part of the museum. And it's a big open room. There's a few rooms. They redid the roof, and so there ended up being a lot of popping from this metal
Loud.
roof.
Yeah, very loud.
Yeah. And I remember being in there before, during a thunderstorm and stuff like that. And some of those pops were deafening
Yeah.
in that room.
Yeah. Again, we weren't getting a ton. So I decided to get up and walk around. I was making squeaky noises with my shoes. So
They squeaked a lot.
every step I took, they were squeaking. So I took them off and just kind of walked around barefoot. And I sat in another room, another open room, towards the front. And they were towards the back. Josh and Jamie were towards the back. And I said, I know it's hard to talk about the war when people get back. Is it still hard? And I got an EVP, quiet EVP of a woman that said, yes, it is. And again, we're not going to play that for you because it's very quiet and you need headphones to hear it. That was the only thing that I got in that room
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and the flux had went off at one point, and I can't remember what question was asked or who asked it, but it responded with a no on the flux.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Mm-mm.
So there really wasn't a whole lot going on there. So we're
It was pretty quiet.
Let's go back to the poker room.
Yeah. But I will say this, though. In that room, in that area, the first time we were there for that Haunted 101,
Mm-hmm.
it was the end of the night, right? And we're just people were kind of just all milling around, and Jamie and I were still kind of investigating, and we get a woman screaming,
Audible
audible,
with your
Oh,
ears
wow.
in the moment.
in the moment, right? And I'm like, oh my God. It was like a blood curdling scream.
Yeah,
Like someone was in serious trouble.
handful of people heard it.
It was me, guys. Just
You
kidding.
weren't even there that day.
Yes, I was.
Not that
She
day.
was at the Haunted
Yes, I was.
101.
Oh,
We didn't know who she was, but she
I
was
was
there.
there.
well, yeah, I didn't.
Rude.
I know. So mean.
Geez, Stinky Pete.
I
Jeez.
know. Jeez.
But we did end up going back to the poker room. And we started doing an SC's method. At first, I was really struggling with that SP7 box. Like, I mean, probably for a good 10, 15 minutes,
Oh, yeah.
at least.
You hooked up the ANC to it.
Yeah, and it was not wanting to work. Like, it was ridiculous. So, and it's normally not like that. It's connect, put it on your headphones and put them on and you go. But it was super struggling. And it was kind of struggling when we were in the library because my headphones were going.
They went haywire.
Yeah.
And I've had these headphones. I've been doing this for 6 years, whatever. I've
Mhm.
never had them do that.
Yeah. They started throwing a fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really loud that you could hear them in the other room.
Well, and
Yeah.
that was what's funny is like when we were sitting there and you were in the library and we were in the sitting room, right? We had the Ovilus out and her headphones make this weird like melody noise.
She's like, I've never heard them do that before.
No.
And then the Ovilus goes, music, planet.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, well, music makes sense. Planet, that's a little weird.
Well, for us, it didn't make sense.
It didn't. And then we find out that Elisa is sitting next to a globe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, where does the planet come from? I'm like, oh, I'm right next to a globe. Maybe that's where it's coming from. I mean, if you're reaching for anything, I don't know, reaching for an answer, but
That seemed like it was immediate. Like,
yeah, it was right after.
Yeah. So that was pretty like spot on.
Yeah.
So back to the poker room, doing the SC's method. And we didn't get any responses for a while.
It seemed dead.
Yeah. And then it started to pick up towards the end, which seems to be happening
Yeah.
more, is where you get more stuff at the end. Anyway, Josh said, could you tell us your name? And then I said, I can't. And I have the headphones on. And then Jamie says, I'm Jamie. And then Josh says, I'm Josh. And over there is, and then instantly I respond with, Elisa, hi, how's it going? And you know how weird it is to hear your name over an SB7? It is super. And my name is not a common name. Okay, Lisa is a common name. Lisa is very common, but Elisa is not a common name.
No.
So to hear my name through the spirit box, I was like, okay, that's where we're at. And then Jamie goes, we're good. How about you? And then I say, I'm okay. Then Jamie said, then after a while, we're not getting any responses. Jamie says, are you still here? I say, no.
Nope, not here.
And then I said, are you police? And Jamie's like, what's your favorite food?
Are you police? What's your favorite food?
And it says oatmeal. I love that. And I remember during this part, it was a different person. So when they said
Different voice.
yeah, it was a different voice. And they had a lot like a softer tone. And they said oatmeal. I love that. And then Josh said, did you fight in any wars? Me? No. Josh, did you fight in the military? Me? I wish. Josh, do you know how you died? Me? I was never supposed to. Josh, did you die in an accident? Me? Accident. Me again, eat apples.
Oh, we had a good laugh at that one.
We did.
Yeah.
And if you remember the Camp Floyd
Yes.
episode where we're doing an Estes method on a military installation
In the museum.
in the museum,
Yeah.
we get go eat apples.
Yeah.
And this was during almost like a standoff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It was
A little bit of a row.
really funny when it says eat apples. And I take off my headphones and I just start laughing because
She's like, no way.
yeah.
We were cracking it up.
we were. So if anybody knows what that phrase means,
Like what it meant back in like the 1800s, let's say.
yeah.
Go
Yeah.
eat an apple or eat apples. Like
And in a way that is rude.
insulting. Yeah. It's like an insult. Like, was there a saying along those
Did
lines?
that mean something?
back then?
I don't know.
Yeah.
If you guys know anything about it,
Get a hold of us. Let us
Yeah,
know.
let us know. Because I've tried Googling it.
Me too.
And
Nothing.
all I find is eat apples. It's good for you. You should eat an apple a day. And it's like, well, that's not
Well,
what I'm looking for.
You know, my thought was so horse poop we used to call road apples, like when they go along the road
Yeah,
and drop turds, and so is it like just their way of saying go eat, you know,
go eat poo.
go eat apples like road apples?
I don't know. So if anybody knows anything, because this is the second time this has happened in
It
a
is.
military area, like in a
That
museum.
phrase, yeah.
Yes.
and within this year,
This
within
year?
2022.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
so
is
crazy. Weird. Anyway, and then Jamie says, "What type of candy did you like?" And then we do. I did get an EVP of a male responding to Jamie, but it is very mechanical. It sounds like it's coming from a device. And it's you can't understand what it's saying. You can tell it's male, but there's no distinct words.
No, it's just like,
Yeah,
You're like-
it's weird.
Like mumbling in a way.
Yeah.
Mechanical
Yeah.
mumbling.
So then Josh says, "Did you drink alcohol?" And then I say, "Syrup." Me, moonshine. And then me, Oahu. And Jamie's like, "Pearl Harbor?" And then I say, "There was a flash." And Josh said, "Did you die at Pearl Harbor?" And then I say, "It fired." Airplane. And then poop, but in the bad word. I didn't actually say the bad word, but
No,
the bad word is what I heard. The other word for poop. And then Jamie said, "When you said go eat apples, does that mean go eat crap?" Then me, apples.
maybe they're saying, you know what, you need your vitamin C, eat an apple.
And then Jamie goes, "We have to go. Can you say goodbye to us?" Then I say, "Bye, thanks." And then Josh said, "Is there anything you'd like to tell us before we go?" And I say, "Bring it on." And then that was the end. So through this, it sounds like it was a very quick conversation, but really this was an hour
Yeah.
Yeah.
or like 40 minutes of a conversation.
Yeah. But that has happened where you ask questions and you get nothing. And there's just no
Mhm.
responses.
Or you have spaces in between answers that make sense and answers that don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you'll get a spirit that comes through and is intelligent. I mean, I feel like they're all intelligent if they're going to try to talk to you through the SB7,
Oh yeah.
Right.
but that are good at answering all of your questions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And some of them are just like saying anything that they can, and it doesn't make any sense. But this was where it made the most sense
Right.
Yeah.
coming through.
And if I remember correctly, too, at one point you're like, I'm not going to say that.
Yep.
Because they went on another profane rant again,
Yeah.
Yeah.
saying all sorts of inappropriate things. But it sounded like some of those things were actually, while inappropriate, were actually relevant to the room we were in.
Exactly.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. I mean, look at what it used to be.
Yeah.
And
You
I'm
would
sure
hear
there
all
was
sorts
a
of
lot
that.
of things being
Oh,
said in
yeah.
that room.
Oh, I'm
Oh, yeah.
sure. I'm sure there was a lot of
As they were gambling and all that. so-
gambling, drinking,
Yep.
and
Profanity.
profanity, right?
Yep.
And then if you throw in the mix of Ladies of the Night,
Yep.
then you're like, whoa.
Arguments, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there were multiple people that, like, this wasn't all the same entity. This was probably 2, maybe 3 different entities that had come through.
Which fits well with the "we are here."
Yes,
Absolutely.
it does. They were all male. So there weren't any females, which is pretty indicative to the room.
Yep. I
You know.
have gotten a female voice in that room, though.
Mm.
Yes.
We
I
A
have.
couple times, actually.
Yes, I
Yeah.
have too. But when there's conversations being had, like as if you were in the poker room,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I think this is pretty good with getting straight males.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the interesting thing about the poker room, too, is that room is the oldest room in the building. It is the original walls
Yeah.
in that room. So
And
we're
floor.
talking 1800s old.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that room has seen a lot of history over the years.
It's like the first room you want to go to. Whenever I go investigate there,
You're
that's
kind of drawn there.
that's where I want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I've been in that room before where I was just investigating with my friend. Becky and I were in there and it was like dead quiet. And we had our flashlights off. And this was I think the first time I was investigating. And we're in there and all of a sudden the room, there's a difference between dark and really dark.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Dark where you can kind of still see,
And then darker than
and then
dark.
darker than dark where you can't see your hand in front of your face.
Yep.
Yep.
And when it goes from that to darker than dark
It's intimidating.
really fast, and you feel that fear, you know,
Mhm.
it's like, it's really scary. And actually, like, my friend Becky was sitting in front of me, and I turned on my flashlight really fast, and I like blinded her, and I was like, it's creepy in here. She's like, don't freaking blind me with your dang flashlight. Like, she was more bugged, I think, by that flashlight than the feeling in the room. That was when I was like first learning how to investigate. But yeah, I've been in there where it's gotten really dark. It just feels like you're enclosed.
Oh, it engulfs you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we
Yeah.
had
Like
that
you're
too
surrounded.
on like our second investigation there. We
Mhm.
were down there and it got dark. And
Yeah.
you're like, ooh, this is a different feeling.
Yeah, it feels like you're surrounded. Like they fill the room is what it feels
Yeah.
like. Whether
Yeah.
there's 1 or 10, you don't know. It just
Right.
fills the room.
What's interesting is on our first investigation there, right? We were down in that poker room and we get this female voice that comes through that says, lay behind me.
Mm-hmm.
Ew.
I know.
Ew.
Well, and it's funny is I was the only male in the room.
Yeah, I said it into his digital. Well, hey,
She's
you know,
like,
she
hey,
was- she
I
was-
want a spoon. Yeah.
She was still on the clock. What can I say? But yeah, and the person that was leading us down through there, she kept talking, and she was kind of new, I think, at being a lead, and she kept talking and talking and talking, and not really giving adequate space for anything to answer or come through. When we later reviewed our audio, Josh and I, as she keeps talking and talking, we get this EVP come through of a male saying, "You're annoying."
Yeah.
So even they were kind of annoyed because I know that Josh and I started to get a little irritated because, you know, she wouldn't
Uh-huh.
be quiet, but so did the spirit.
Yep.
They got irritated too.
That's funny.
You know, which goes to show, like, you can annoy the spirits.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I mean they have emotions just like we do. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
they're the
Yeah.
only difference is they just don't have a body.
Yeah.
And for most of us in the world, we can't see them,
hmm
which does make it a little
Hard.
ominous.
Yeah. They have an advantage. We think they
Yeah.
have an advantage.
Right. So, yeah, we've kept you guys hopefully enthralled this entire time.
Well, I don't know about everybody else, but I enjoyed it.
It was a good night.
Exactly. It was a good night. So, where can they find us?
All over. You can find us on Facebook at Cold Spot Paranormal Research. You can also find us at Paranormal Peeps Podcast, also on Facebook.
And on Instagram at coldspot_paranormal_research. and on Twitter at CPR Paranormal. And as always, stay ghosty, my peeps.
Oh, and then Jamie and I had an experience too.
We had a few.
Yeah. So one of them is we went into, we call it the loom room,
Yes.
whatever else you're going to call it. So we went in there and we were sitting there and just talking, and we heard what sounded like a chain or something being dropped into like a porcelain dish or a ceramic dish or something.
It was weird.
That's weird.
It was weird. And we were like, okay, what in here is porcelain? Because it's got the big looms, and then it's got by the door, it has two glass cases with, some pictures and a dress, and, things like that inside, but nothing like porcelain or ceramic.
And we were looking around with our
Yeah,
flashlight.
we were looking around, and then finally, right next to where Jamie was sitting, is this porcelain or ceramic dish,
bowl and pitcher.
of where you wash your face and hands and stuff.
Right.
And I tapped on it. I'm like, that's it. That's the sound. But it sounded like a chain.
Yeah.
Was there any type of metal or chain that was
No.
None.
near it?
None.
Weird.
Nothing.
It
That's
was really
cool.
neat. Yeah.
So, and there was also something else that happened in that room, because I came to get Elisa for the first demo, if you remember. And I walked into the loom room, and that place is normally a sauna.
Yes.
It's usually a lot.
It's the warmest room out of every building. I
which
feel
is
like.
one of the reasons Elisa and I actually went in there.
Yeah,
is
because we were
it was
freezing our butts
it
off
was
and
warm.
we wanted to go in
Right.
there.
Yeah.
But when I walked in, I'm like, hey, it's cold in here.
It was ice cold. It
And we
dropped.
both noticed that too, is that it was so cold. The door was still closed, but it was freezing. And then later that night, as it got colder outside, it actually got warmer in there.
Yeah. When I went by and locked up all of the buildings,
It was warm.
it was warm again.
See, and that doesn't make any sense.
No.
No.
No sense whatsoever. It's freezing outside. And it's not like it's insulated with insulation or like anything like that. It's
And
logs.
and there's no heaters, no nothing.
No,
And I don't
In
know
those
why
buildings.
I have no idea why that building is so hot.
I don't care.
know.
But that's like, it feels so good when it's cold outside.
And it did. It felt good. And we were sitting there and the temperature just dropped.
Uh-huh.
And then shortly after that, like a minute or two after that, Josh came in.
And we were talking about it, like, it is getting really cold in here. And when it drops that fast, that significant,
Something's zapping that heat.
then something's taking that heat away.
That's right.
Yeah. It's probably, a 20-degree drop, which is significant.
It got cold enough I could see my breath.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cold.
And it never, I don't know. I can't say it never gets that cold in there because I'm sure it does at the peak of winter,
Oh, sure.
But generally, I mean, I've been there in October. I don't know how many times. And it is so warm in there. Like you don't even need a jacket. It's warm in there.
Yeah.
So for it to drop that cold and then to get back to being that hot
yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
Right. That is
Nope.
weird.
So, yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Paranormal Peeps podcast. You can find us on social media at Twitter at CPR Paranormal, on Facebook at Paranormal Peeps Podcast and Cold Spot Paranormal Research. And you can find us on Instagram at coldspot_paranormal_research.